What's up, YouTube? Back at you with another video, another quick take. I got my main man, my partner, my brother here.
Another controversial topic. No need to fear. The most charismatic man in entertainment is here. Thank you for having me again, bro.
My boy. So we've got a situation here, and a situation that I feel compelled to talk about because this is about one of my favorite entertainers. Now we've got an article courtesy of essence.com which says Brian McKnight criticized for praising his stepchildren while ignoring his biological kids. The article goes on to say Brian McKnight was trending on Twitter recently and not for noble reasons. The Back at One singer is being called out for not acknowledging his biological children. Again, the 53-year-old has four biological children from previous relationships, which include Brian Jr., Brianna, Nico, and Clyde. Twitter users pointed to McKnight's Instagram, where he acknowledges his stepchildren in a way that seemed to shade his biological kids. This fresh criticism started after a user resurfaced an Instagram post from 2020 where the singer thanks his stepdaughter for making him a girl dad. And the post quotes what he said. He said, "Jules, I became a girl dad because of you, and I couldn't have asked for a better daughter," McKnight wrote in a caption. Um, Now, I guess it continues saying, "Visiting you on campus and seeing how happy you are living in this beach house with all your friends for your senior year reminded us both of how proud we are of the woman you have become and the incredible student you continue to be." Um, but I want to highlight a quote where a few years ago, Brian McKnight had actually responded to all the backlash. And this is a quote from that video, which people can look up, by the way. He said, "I've never missed a day of child support. I've never done anything adverse to my children whatsoever. I've always been there. I've always been there with advice, whether they took it or not. I've always been the sounding board, and I've always been the one who had to help them achieve whatever dreams they were wanting to reach out for," he said in the video. Um, and then his son, Brian McKnight Jr., responded at that same, around that same time, and he said, "I don't think there's any situation that merits the way my father has chosen to treat my brother, my sisters, and his grandchildren, one of which being his firstborn son, who also bears our name, Brian McKnight. It's insane to me to have absolutely no empathy for the type of life be in what the it's okay, yeah, the quote is weird. So it says it's to have absolutely no empathy for the type of life introduced to us, only to resent us for that life catching up with us. It breaks my heart, but not for myself, specifically for my siblings and my children. They don't deserve this at all." Now, obviously, this is like a rabbit hole that we can go down in terms of quotes and articles and different things like that. But what do you think about the situation, man?
Oh, you know what? I know. I didn't realize he was your favorite singer. So we might get a little debate on this one. But
Okay.
so I woke up, I saw you tag me and stuff, and immediately, I'm not one of those people who jump to conclusions. So I try to, I went on Twitter first thing because I know usually that's where a lot of media outlets and people chime in. And I saw people dragging this man. And at first, I was like, this is probably one of those 50 Cent situations with his youngest son. We've talked about that before. And then I did some other research. I saw Essence did a piece on it. I saw a couple other people talk about it. And based off what I've seen, you know what? I gotta say, it seems a little shady how he's treating his kids. And I didn't realize this. So his younger daughter, and it's all about the context. So yeah, the way he talks about his stepdaughter is beautiful. I'm not taking away anything away from that. But when you say that you're the perfect daughter, you made me a girl dad. You're the
Mm-hmm.
you're the child I always wanted. When you say stuff like that, and then posting the birth of your son, no, the announcing the pregnancy of your wife on the same day as your oldest son's birthday.
Right.
It seems a little petty, and I don't know what the relationship is, and like I said, I'm not going to go in on this man like most other people have done
Right.
because I don't know his side, right? But I
Mm-hmm.
think as a parent, there's just certain things that I feel like you're obligated to do, and there was something that stood out to me. So his younger daughter, actually, I did some research. I saw his ex-wife and his kids, and I was like, I didn't know anything about them. So his younger daughter, Brianna, the one that's younger than the girl, his stepdaughter, apparently they got in a tiff because he accused her of sleeping with a cousin. The problem was she was a minor, and I guess they cut ties over that and everything like
No,
that.
she
So
blocked him. She blocked him. So when he caught wind of her potential, we don't know if that actually happened or not. But when Brian McKnight caught wind of the situation, he tried to contact her, and she blocked him. So there was no way of him actually getting in contact with her because her mother, had her block him. So what is he supposed to do? So
but
clearly, and he said it in the video, and honestly, I should have sent you that video where he says his side so that way you hear both sides. And he said clearly, she doesn't want me in her life that way. So what can I do?
but you know what? When I hear stuff like she won a defamation lawsuit against him, I don't know. Like I said,
Who won a defamation lawsuit against
his
him?
his daughter she filed a defamation. I guess he went on a forum or something and said talked about the situation, and she won. He had to pay her damages for the stuff he said. Like I said, I don't know the situation throughout, so I'm not.
All right.
But
Okay. Great. 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 Okay. Now, you just said that. Can you blame this man? Now, all right. Let's take the fact that he was one of my favorite R&B singers out of the equation, and I'm assessing the situation objectively, just as me as a son, someone who has had a complicated and negative relationship with my father, and just as a black man and an individual. So I'm taking my fandom out of the equation. Now I just looked up an article which pretty much gives me the ages of his three kids, the kids that are in question. It doesn't mention Clyde. I don't know if he actually has a son named Clyde, but so Brian McKnight Jr., as of December 15, 2022, he is 33 years old. Brian McKnight's other son is 30. And Brianna, which I'm assuming is, I guess, the girl that won the defamation suit, the other daughter, she's 21 years old. Now, here's my thing. I watched Brian McKnight's a closer look interview on All Black. If you guys ever heard of it, it's like a network, and they've done interviews with Ralph Tresvant. They've done interviews with Eric Benet and Brian McKnight, and I think I don't want to say Fantasia, somebody else that I can't think of right now. And I watched that interview many times, and in that interview, he was saying that his first son, Brian McKnight Jr., when he found out that his first wife was well, first of all, okay, he met his first wife in college, and he went to a very religious school, and I'm assuming it's a school or university, from what I remember vaguely, that it's associated with the Seventh-day Adventist religion. And in that school, you're not allowed to have girls in your bedroom. Okay, Ryan McKnight was kicked out of school because he had his, I don't even know if she was his girlfriend at the time, but the woman who went on to be his first wife, she was in his room, and that got him kicked out of school, which was fine because he already had his R&B, singing career already, up and running at that point. So him getting kicked out of school, wasn't anything. Now, at the point where he really started to take off, his first wife told him that she wasn't pregnant, or that she wasn't going to, move forward with the pregnancy. Okay. That was his understanding. He saw her some odd months later and then noticed that she put on a whole bunch of weight. And then, long story short, she ended up, keeping it instead. All right. What did Brian McKnight do? He did the right thing. He was there for his wife. He got married to her, and he did the right thing. He was married to her for 13 years. Now, let me ask you something. How would you feel if, let's say, you had unprotected sex with your girlfriend, and then, so you're asking her, all right, so, what are we going to do? And then she tells you, and you guys are not, obviously, a relationship between y'all two is not even consummated. And she says that she is not going to move forward with it. And then you think, fine, you move on with your acting career, and then you finally start to take off. And then she comes out of nowhere and tells you, oh, I'm actually pregnant. I lied. How would you feel?
I'd be upset.
You'd be upset, but you know what he did? He took that out of the equation, because guess what? She was having his son, and he got married to her. This man did the right thing. That's what you do. You're there for your woman who's pregnant with your child, and you're there for your son. That's what he did, and he was married to her for 13 years. That man tried. 13 years is a long time, even for me. Even for me, my longest relationship was 6 years. So how can people even criticize this man? And he was there for her. And he was there for her.
But
so that's what I'm saying. So first of all, Brian McKnight, his whole marriage was built on a lie that his first wife freaking created.
You know what? It's one of those things. Like I said, I'm not mad at him for moving on. It happens all the time. The way he talks about his stepchildren makes it
because they talk about him in a way that it's almost as if this man did nothing for them. Everything, all this, if you look him up on Instagram, and I'm not saying he's a bad dude or none of that, but when you look him up, all of this clout that he's got is associated with his father. He gave them industry experience, exposure, money. He was there for them. You know what he said? This is where the problem came from. He told them, all right, you guys are getting older now. Now it is time for you guys to do for yourself. So he said, you know what I'm going to do? Your apartments that I'm already paying for, I'm going to pay for them for 1 more year. And you have a year to figure out whatever it is that you want to do with yourselves. His now wife, she is a neurosurgeon for kids. Okay. She offered to give his kids, if they needed it, jobs at her hospital with good benefits and good pay and all this other types of stuff. They didn't want to do it because they had to pass a freaking drug test and stuff like that because they didn't want to stop smoking. This man told him, he said, yo, I'm gonna hold you down for a whole year, but I just need you to figure it out for yourself. These niggas are older than me. They're older than me. So my thing is, I'm not saying that they got to get along, but at least if your pops is helping you, then you at least got to respect the fact that whatever it is, whatever life you are enjoying right now, that is largely due in part to the fact that he helped you out. It's not like this dude, just disparages these kids their whole entire life. No, this is recent years. This is recent years. I'm not knocking them for not getting along with their pops because that's fine. It is what it is. But at least acknowledge the fact that, you know what? My father did do certain things that helped me. You gotta do that. And I understand. not getting along with your pops. I get that. But at least even me, I can say, you know what? Even if nothing else, there are certain things that my father helped me out with. I gotta give him that. I gotta give him that. I can say, yeah, we don't get along. I don't rock with him like that, but I can say, okay, these are certain things that he's helped me with. And as friends, I told you these things.
Right.
I told you these things. So this is what I'm saying, because people, it's like they don't know all the details. He's 33 years old. Why? It's like, if I'm Brian Mcknight Jr., why not leverage all the experience and exposure that my father gave me in addition to the resources that he shared with me and leverage that so that way I could do for myself instead of keep coming back to him for fish. He's going to get tired of giving it to you because, yo, my nigga, you're 33. You should have ambitions and aspirations to do for yourself. It's not about your pops constantly giving you stuff all the time. At least if he sees you trying to do stuff by yourself, then your parents will respect that. But if all you're trying to do is just keep looking for a handout, of course he's going to say, okay, you know what? I don't even see this dude doing anything for himself. So in order to facilitate that, I'm going to say, yo, you got 1 more year of freebies, and then you got to start doing for yourself whatever it is that you want to do. If he told Brian he wanted to be an astronaut, he would have helped him. These dudes could have went to any school that they wanted. They could have done anything that they wanted. But what are they doing now? Complaining about their pops on social media? And then people want to say that Brian is a nasty soul as if he didn't do right by these people he didn't do right by his first wife for 13 freaking years, 15 years, 20 plus years. He did everything for them. He said he never missed a child. Because let me say something. If Brian Mcknight was like a verbal physical abuser, then I would understand. But clearly, according to him, he never did anything adverse towards his kids. Whatever abandonment they're talking about financial abandonment. And then on top of that, they went into his house and then he said that one of his sons, I don't know which one it is, but they went to his wedding pictures with his new wife and then they ripped up the wedding pictures of him and his wife. Real shit. This is who we're talking about here. So it's not like this is some good. We're not talking about the Cosby kids. Yo.
But you know what though? And here's the thing. Like I said, I'm not talking about their. I don't know them personally, so I can't speculate what life was like for them growing up. Because let's be real, he was famous, so he was paying child support. Yeah, but just because you're paying child support don't mean you was there
Dude,
physically.
his sons were on tour performing with him. He brought his sons out. He's done music videos with them. He's posted their work. You
I
can
didn't know that.
Google it.
Yeah.
Brian McKnight and Sons. Google YouTube it. You will see them on stage with this guy, on tour with him. How is that? How, if your father's a touring artist and he's bringing you on tour with them, how is he not there for you? And on top of that, giving you money, paying for you, giving you cars and all that shit. And then you mean to tell me that this man is not there, wasn't there for them? Just because he said, yo, you guys got to do, you're at that age now. And I get that, because it's like me, what functioning man wants to be up under his pops his whole entire life? Who, come on now. He's like, yo, I want you to do for yourself. But as far as I'm concerned, prior to that falling out that they had, he was always there for them. So I don't want to hear that shit. People are saying, oh, he's a nasty soul. I'm like, yo, what? How was he a nasty soul when he did the right thing? If he would be everything people are trying to say that he is, if, let's say, when he found out that his first wife was pregnant and he wasn't there for her, I could understand that shit. I could understand that. But he married her for 13 years. And people get divorced all the time. But that divorce didn't stop him from helping his kids out. His relationship with his first wife is not his relationship with his kids. If they chose to make that the same thing, then that's on them. Because let's say my relationship with my father has nothing to do with my relationship with my mother, who are divorced. That's between, it's individual. So you get what I'm saying? So just because my father doesn't rock with my mother doesn't mean that I shouldn't talk to my mother just because that's how he feels. No, I think for myself. Because I'm hearing that a lot of how they feel has to do with his relationship with his first wife. I get that. You can feel away. I don't know the details, but I'm just saying, as far as Brian McKnight is concerned, he was there for his kids. And for him to do all of that, and for people to turn around and say, oh, he's a deadbeat dad, and then they make it about race. Like, yo, trust me, I'm as pro-black as they come, but I don't even blame this man for dating out when it's like, yo, your own people have treated you like dirt.
Nah, you know what? I agree with you on that.
Let's be real. I'm not having that.
But I think the reason why people call him out on it is, first, let me say this. There's people on death row, people who committed heinous crimes, and their parents will stick with them. Now, you can say, that's stupid parent, whatever. But I think, I had a conversation with my mom 2 summers ago, and I got to learn about her, the way she acted, why she acted a certain way when I grew up, and I questioned about it. She was brought up a certain way. Her mother, all her siblings are very light skinned. I'm talking about
this is not about race. You know what it's about? But you know what it's about? It's entitlement. It's the same thing when women they're in a relationship where they're married to a rich husband, and then when they divorce, they still feel entitled to that lifestyle. It's the same thing. You don't think rich kids are the sons and daughters of rich and famous people don't feel an extraordinary sense of entitlement? It's straight entitlement. That is a fact. So they're like, if you were buying us BMW cars and paying for our apartments and stuff like that, and we know you got the money, they're gonna feel some type of way when he decides to pull the plug on that shit. That's a fact, because they never had to work. They never had to scrap. They never had to grind and build something up from scratch straight out the mud. So when he finally said, yo, you got to build something up for yourself out the mud, I'm not going to keep, being there to change your diapers and wipe your ass. All of a sudden, I become a bad guy. And then you go to social media and then you talk down on me as if I wasn't there for you. I wouldn't talk to them niggas either. If they're 37 plus years old, come on now.
Yeah, but what?
Let me ask you. But
what about his younger daughter though? His 21-year-old daughter. What about his 21?
I don't know too much about his daughter, who was cute, by the way. But Brian McKnight Jr. and his other son, I seen them niggas all up and down with their dad. I've seen them all up and down, all around with their pops, and they're 33 and 30 years old. Them niggas older than me. This is what I'm saying. At my age now, I'm like, yo, I want to do for myself. I don't want to be all up under, all close to my parents no more. Nah. But if I need help, fine, I need help. But they got to at least say, okay, he might need our help, but we still see him doing his thing. If I'm Brian McKnight, I'm helping you, cool. But if you push in your late 20s, you about to go in your 30s, and I don't see you doing anything, at least trying to do something, even if it's small progress, I'm gonna be like, yo, what's going on? Clearly, you're taking advantage, especially if you never show my new wife any sort of respect whatsoever.
But you know what? Here's the thing. I agree with you on all that, especially when you talk about new wife. I think a lot of people brought the whole race thing into it because the way it's the language. Like I said, you don't have to have a good relationship with your kids. I understand that. I think people need to normalize unhealthy relationships with parents and their
Yeah, why
children.
do I have to keep
But
dealing with somebody that treats me like dirt?
but these are
No.
these still his kids. He don't have to financially support them, whatever. But to say that your stepdaughter is the daughter that you always wanted, that's a little hurtful
But
for
let me tell you something. Let me tell you something.
no
Nothing
parent should
is
do
in its
that. No
original
parent should do
form.
that.
Nothing is ever in its original form after you break it. Relationships with people, especially family relationships, is very delicate. Okay, just because you have a familiar relationship with somebody does not mean that shit is indestructible. So if you do something against me, yeah, we could probably make amends or some shit, but that does not mean our relationship was what it was prior to the damage that you did. Their shit is probably beyond repair at this point because I can only imagine how he feels. And Brian Mcknight seems like a nice guy. He seems like a very nice guy. Like he's not like thug gangster dude. None of that. Like he's a nice guy. He's a quiet dude. Like he just makes his R&B and then he's got his personal life. That's it. It's not even like he putting it out there. In fact, nobody knew anything about his personal life until they came out and said some shit. You see what I'm saying? They're the ones who started it. They did it, not him.
But
So how do you think he feels? He's waking up in the morning, and then now everybody is throwing my name, throwing his name, in the mud, throwing dirt on his name, throwing salt on him over some shit that they don't even know the real story. The man, because all I'm saying is, I feel, and I can say that he did for his kids, because it's levels to bad dads out here. It's levels to this shit. So I know bad dads and shit like that. If he was physically abusing them, if he was verbally abusing them and shit like that, I would completely understand. Because just because whatever it is you do for me doesn't really mean shit if you're putting me down. If you're using the fact that you're my dad to put me down, I would know. This is why when I hear this shit, I'm like, nah, nigga, it's levels to this shit.
but
It's
you
levels to this shit. I
but
would
you
know.
but you know what? I think the only reason why I'm not trying to talk about them because I don't know how they grew up, and I
But
don't
they
know.
weren't complaining. They weren't complaining until he said, "Yo, you got to start working now." After 20 plus, because that's the thing. That's where entitlement comes in. That's where being spoiled comes in.
But I
Okay,
think it's more
when
than just
somebody's
that,
been
though. I
paying
don't
for
know.
you, when somebody's been paying for you your whole entire life up until you're 27, 28, 29 years old and shit like that, and they got the money, you feel like, oh, so you just don't want to pay for me anymore? You don't want to, you know what I'm saying? People like that are going to feel some type of way. People like that are going to, that's where it comes from. It's
But
not, oh, you were
no,
never there for me. That's bullshit. It's just,
but
yo,
that
you got to start
see,
working now. You got to get a job. You have to start
I,
working now. I'm not gonna cut your checks. All of a sudden, when I tell you that, I become this bad guy that wasn't there for you. Come on, now that's cap. That's cap.
but you know what? But even if all that is true, what you just said, right? The fact that in his own Instagram bio, he has all his own stepchildren, but not his kid. I don't care.
Because yo, they're doing is
No,
talking shit. Okay, all right, but all right. So
I
I'm
don't
just gonna use
know,
you as an
man.
example. You're somebody that you don't have the most perfect relationship with your mother. Yes or no?
Right.
You said that somebody asked you, "Oh, what are you buying my mom for her birthday?" And what did you say? You said, I don't remember the last time she bought me anything. Can I fault you for that?"
Right.
It's not just because, oh, you're my kids or something. No, because you don't have a good relationship with them. That's what I'm saying. You don't. He does not have a good relationship with his kids for him to be showing them off like that. Because the last, if I'm speaking from his perspective, the last I checked, all they were doing was talking shit as if I did nothing for them. I spent thousands of however much he paid, which was probably a lot, getting them everything they needed, everything that they said that they wanted. And then for me, at the very end of all of that, for you to slap me in my fucking face? Come on, man. Of
But
course, I'm not gonna acknowledge that either. And we're talking about grown ass men. They're not kids anymore.
yeah, but I mean, even with the situation with his daughter, the fact that he told his stepdaughter, who's older than his own daughter, that she's the best daughter he can
Well, you know
have.
why? Because
Uh,
good daughters don't take your dad to court for
no,
defamation.
no, I
And
disagree.
and
If
and and and
especially if
and,
you
and, then,
sexually
and, then,
assaulted
and
as
then
a
when and
kid,
then
I
when the
don't
case
know.
over some shit that he was telling the truth. He was telling
But
the
that
truth.
she was a minor being sexually assaulted, I don't know. I would
Well,
take that.
like I said, according to him, he said, "Yo, he tried to reach out to her, and his number was blocked." Like you honestly, you need to watch that video where he himself was talking about it, and it's not like he was calling him out of their name. It's not like he was saying anything. He just gave the facts, and people will do with those facts what they will, because again, everybody talking shit it's like, what kind of lives are they living anyway? Because everybody should aspire to have their own personal happiness. That is it. And when you're 30, 33 years old, come on, man, you got to move on. If you don't have, it's like if you don't have a good relationship with your dad and you're 33 years old, you got to accept the fact that it's probably going to be like that for a very long time. Okay, so it's
Right.
like it's like, and then he all in the shade room comments, like I forgot what he said. He was like, "Oh, y'all used a bad picture of me or some shit," and it's like, yo, like, and they get personal enjoyment out of that. Again, if he's allowed to dislike his father, but me, I can say I don't have a good relationship. I don't have a good relationship with my father, but I can still say, like I said earlier, that there are certain things that I took away from him being my dad. I could at least say that. His father's, he got his voice from his dad. And then he got his name from his dad, which he's still using now. He's still using now. So when people see his name, they think of his dad. That is a fact. His shit says Brian Mcknight Jr. It doesn't say Joe Mcknight. He's still benefiting off of his pops right now. Because all of this drama, he's benefiting from that. Because people think for some reason they should be feeling sorry for this dude. And because I've seen that, people are like, oh, I thought your dad was solid, but it turns out I was wrong. I'm gonna start following you now. And I'm like, he's benefiting from that. That's what they want. That's what they want. To me, that's like leech behavior. Parasite shit.
I'm sure there's some financial things behind that. I mean, when you're talking about money, celebrities, there's always that. But I think it happens all the time. People leave a marriage or leave a relationship, they get in a new family. I'm not saying this happened with him, but just the way he talks about his new family, his own
stepchildren. You can't blame him. If somebody has a negative, relationship with somebody, you can't blame them for that.
But I'll disagree. Why? My mom adopted me, right? She has her own kids. Her kids are older than me. But even when she adopted me, my young brother, she didn't have the greatest relationship with my sister's father and all that stuff. But she didn't treat us better than them. And then whenever there was a family gathering or
did you give her a reason? It's like, did y'all ever give her a reason to want to treat them better?
I mean, but you also got to remember, like we were adopted. We were still trying, figure out about our real family. So I'm sure for her, I have a brother who ran.
And y'all kids, that's what I'm saying. But I'm talking about talking about adults. We're not talking about little kids. And unless you gave somebody a legitimate reason to just not want anything to do with you, then cool. But they gave him plenty of reasons to not want anything to do with them. Because again, as far as he's concerned, his job with them is done. He did his part. He did his part because his son's not like his son. He's still recording music. I don't know what he does for money or some shit like that. But again, he's still doing his thing. And he has his father to thank for that.
Yeah, but just because your father, but here's my thing. No matter what my mom's relationship is, I would never say she's not my mother. I would never do that. I wouldn't go let's say I died tomorrow, right? I wouldn't say my mother was not her. I don't care how bad it gets because I'm never gonna.
You're like that though. But that's you.
But she wouldn't do that to me either. She wouldn't do that to any of her kids.
But that's y'all then. But you can't project your personal mindsets and attitudes onto somebody else because everybody is different. That's what works for you. If at the end of the day you say, yo, your mom can stab you in the fucking stomach with a knife and twist it, and you would still say, you know what, well, that's still my mom, bro, that's you.
No, I wouldn't say that's me.
That's not everybody else because I'm more on the wavelength of Brian Mcknight. Nigga, if you do me dirty, I will never talk to you again, and I'll never fucking claim your ass either. We're not a fly on the wall on how that shit feels because it's like that on both sides. But I'm saying this man was not a verbal abuser. He was not a physical abuser because them niggas never even mentioned that. All they're saying is, oh, he got a new wife and stuff like that, and then he spends more time with them than he does with us. Well, shit, you gave him plenty of reasons to do that. And in my opinion, anyway, if I'm 30 and I got my own kids of my own, why do I care about what my pops is doing at that point? Why do I care? I have my own family. I got my own woman. I got my own life. If I don't speak to him, shit, then who fucking cares?
But you know what?
That's him. That's him. So y'all can't say, oh, no matter what, I will always claim my family. That's you. That's projecting. Because honestly, I'm like, that works for you, fine. But that's right for you. That's not right for everybody else.
No, it's not. But I also think that when you,
everybody thinks like that.
Yeah, but you know what? It's one of those things. I'm not a father. I can't tell you what it's like to be a father, right? But my little brother, my little brother has an awful relationship with his daughter's mother. Awful. They don't get along at all. It's toxic But you know what? He never told his daughter, "I hate you." Yeah, just because he don't get to see it all the time, I disown it. He talks about his daughter all the time. Even for him, I'm not saying they have to be going on lunch dates and all that stuff, fallen son and fallen daughter. But the fact that, like, if I wake up tomorrow and I see my mom with another man tomorrow, and I see her talking about his new kids and not me, I'm gonna feel type of way because just because you moved on with somebody, you forget about your own bloodline. You don't have to, like I said, you don't have to take me out to lunch tomorrow. I get that, but the fact that just because you remarried somebody, you're claiming their kids, and even to your point when you said they got to the age where he's not financially responsible for them. Well, his stepdaughter's older than his own daughter, and he's
All
buying her
right.
BMWs and all that stuff.
All right.
So
I don't know.
you
I don't
know,
know. I don't know if this was the same video, but how would you feel? And I don't. And I honestly, I really wish I watched that Brian Mcknight video before. I've seen it. I've seen it a few times, but I wish I watched it fresh off. But I think this is him. You know, but this is the same situation anyway because this comes from some public father-son relationship. But how would you feel if your son told you, and you're a rich, successful actor, and you told your son like, yo, I think, it's time for you to start, doing for yourself and being more self-reliant.
mhm.
And then y'all go through whatever y'all go through as a result of that shit because he feels entitled to everything that you've been doing for him, no matter how old he is. And your son told you you're better off dead to me than alive. How would you feel?
I feel hurt. I wouldn't disown him.
Fuck that. Fuck that shit.
Nah, because you know what?
If I'm
Nah,
talking to if I'm talking to a grown ass adult, we're not talking about a little teenager. We're not talking about somebody who's 18, 19 and they're still kind of, learning their emotions. If I'm talking to a grown ass man and I spent my whole entire life doing for you, doing everything for you, and then you fucking turn around and tell me that I'm better off dead than alive to you because you want life insurance or some fucking shit like that just for fucking money, nigga, I'm not talking to you again. So everything that I did for you, I know within myself that I did the right thing from start to freaking finish. Whatever it is that they choose to say after that is after that. As long as I never physically abused them, as long as I never verbally abused them, and I always did right by them, I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn because that's his own life. That is his own personal journey. People keep trying to force puzzle pieces that don't fit in the name of family. Fuck that shit.
but
Fuck
you know
that
what?
shit. Fuck
But you know,
that shit,
no,
bro. I'm not on
but
that.
you, but you know what? I'll say this: 50 Cent doesn't have 50 Cent. His son is
Exactly. 50
awful,
Cent did doing the same thing. 50
but
Cent,
50 Cent
we
still
did a
talks
quick
about
take
his son,
about that.
right? But 50 Cent doesn't. 50 Cent never
50
talked to.
Cent, yo, 50 Cent literally said, yo, if it rattled like a snake, if it slithered like a snake, is it a snake or do you need to be bit? He was talking about his son.
Right, but he still acknowledged his
How
son though.
he did right by his son his whole entire life, and then his son showing up with niggas that he got problems with and stuff like that. He come see his son at like a jewelry store or some shit like that. As soon as he walk in, his son walks the fuck out of the goddamn jewelry store. This is what I'm
Right,
saying. Just because somebody's your son, that does not that is just like a biological relationship. But this is still a whole nother human being, just like everybody else. And you either have good relationships with people or you don't. So it's like we don't see people calling 50 Cent a deadbeat. The same thing. And I think just like Marcus Houston, Brian Mcknight, because he's not an A-list celebrity, he's an easy target. People just like to pick on like lesser R&B singers for whatever reason. Because just like I said about Marcus Houston, if you guys want to call freaking what's his name, Ryan McKnight, a goddamn deadbeat, then make sure you say the same thing about 50 Cent. I don't feel that way. But
nah,
how
you
much
know
did
why?
50 Cent's son say he wanted a month from 50 Cent? Didn't he say like he wanted like
Ooh,
13,000 or some shit like
yeah,
that?
something like that.
Something
Yeah,
like that, right? And then what was everybody's reaction? What did everybody say? Everybody was like, yo, this nigga's entitled. Like 50 Cent was holding you down your whole entire life. And it's just like, yo, it's never enough. Because I remember it's like he wanted millions of dollars from freaking 50 Cent. Like at that point, are you going to be content? But it's because Marquise was putting all the details are out there. We don't know how much money Brian McKnight was helping them with. We don't know. But again, it's like, do his kids have to throw out dollar amounts for people to understand how entitled these guys are? It's the same situation. It's literally the same situation, but people look at it differently because we're talking about a rapper. You see what I'm saying? And then 50 Cent
right.
has a certain persona. 50 Cent literally doesn't. If somebody cares less between the two of them, it's probably 50 Cent because 50 Cent is a lot more unapologetic than freaking Brian McKnight is. Because
Right.
50 Cent was literally in his jacuzzi, freaking hot tub, whatever bubble bath thing, and then he recorded a video of himself watching his son's interview, not giving two shits. 50 Cent has a whole nother son with like a biracial son, and then he be freaking doing freaking flexing what he does for his son, but people don't say anything. People don't. I mean, I'm pretty sure people do have contrary opinions about 50 Cent, but I'm saying it's still not the way that I'm seeing. Freaking Brian McKnight. I haven't seen anybody call 50 Cent a nasty soul and shit.
But you know why though?
Cutting off his entitled ass son.
But you know why though? Because 50 Cent, despite all the negative, because I've watched 50 Cent interviews talking about his son. He's never said that's not my son. I disown him. He has said a lot of crazy things. It's 50 Cent, but he never met. Like, imagine this. Like, let's say you with a girl today, right? Let's say y'all break up and y'all have children. She finds another dude. She moves in with him. He has kids, and all of a sudden, because she has an attitude with you, her kids give her attitude. She oh, you know what? I mean, you keep the kids. These are my kids over here. You're gonna be like, what? You talking crazy? And I think that's why people are mad because one, these are not even his kids. You buying your step, and I'm not mad that he's taking care of them, but the fact that you have in your bio your stepchildren's name and not.
But I told you already though. That's because he don't have a good relationship with them. So you can't say, so y'all can't say it like if I have a bad relationship with my dad or some shit, but then I meet some other guy that I feel like fill that void, and then I call him my father on my social media instead of my actual dad. Motherfuckers gonna say some shit about me. You know why? Because I don't have a good relationship with the guy. So why are people trying to police who he's got in his bio as if that's gonna all of a sudden fix everything? That's not gonna fix nothing. That's not going to fix nothing. That's what he wanted to put on his own personal social freaking media. And that's not for anybody to say because family relationships get complicated. And I'm pretty sure if everybody's dirty laundry, as far as their family relationships was all out there is concerned, people wouldn't like that shit either because he's a public figure and there's a spotlight on his own personal business. But everybody has their own, things that they got going on with their family. Nobody is perfect. And this is a clear example of that shit. And then Brian is just trying to move forward with his life. Let him move forward with his life with his new people. You know why? Because if I have a relationship with a certain family member and that shit is negative, I don't have to acknowledge them for the rest of my motherfucking life if I don't want to. And I don't give a shit what anybody has to say about that shit. Because just because I'm gonna quote Tupac from Above the Rim, just because a motherfucker is born into a family don't mean that they stay family. Dog, and that's real shit. That is real shit, and I hate that society is constantly trying to force family relationships. Like people that don't get along. If these people don't get along, they don't get along. That's just real, and it's always going to be like that because Brian McKnight is always going to be Brian McKnight. His kids are always going to be his kids. They're always going to be who they are. They do not mix. For the most part, with the exception of his youngest daughter, and she's moving into, her mid-20s, but his two sons, them niggas are adults. So I feel like, in my opinion, they shouldn't even care. Because if you got kids, you got your own woman, you have the means to build for yourself, who cares? Who cares? And honestly, let's say if I was Brian McKnight's son, I would say? I would have been like, if the Shade Room posted that shit up, I would say, yo, I think y'all should just chill. Y'all should just chill out. Once he says that, people are going to follow suit. People are going to be like, you know what? Okay, cool. But they feed into that angry mob mentality. You know what I'm saying? And we all do it to ourselves. I don't see white people talking trash about Brian McKnight. It's all black people that are talking trash about him for going through things that just people just go through. It's not his fault. And I won't say it's 100%. It's just a fucking situation that didn't work out. And then they just parting of ways. But that does not make it like that does not make Brian McKnight a nasty soul. I'm not having that.
No, but I think it's petty when it's your son's birthday, and instead of acknowledging that you
because his sons be talking shit. Like if they talk shit about him, he had his daughter take him to court for a defamation lawsuit that she won, and he had to cut a check. This is what I'm saying to you. They don't respect it. I'm speaking from the aspect of Brian McKnight. They don't respect me. They don't respect my wife. They don't like my stepchildren. They don't like my newborn, son. So it's best that they stay over there and I stay over here. That's the end of it. But for people, again, to try to say that he's just this bad guy, but I'm like, yo, he's not an abuser. He married his wife that lied to him about being pregnant. He had multiple kids with her. He did his best. He did everything that he could do. But all of a sudden, when he wants to move on, and that's usually how it is, and that shit to be true. It's like you can have a baby moms and stuff like that. she all cool with you until you start to move on with somebody else. Then all of a sudden she want to put you on child support, and then you just become this deadbeat guy all of a sudden. And that's facts. That is facts. My friend Randy, that's done a couple videos with me, he said that. He said that. That all of a sudden, when he wanted to move on with somebody else, that's when his ex-girlfriend started to have a problem with him. You got to let people just live their freaking life. He's entitled to be happy. These are adults we're talking about. Yeah, and clearly, for my daughter to take me to court for a defamation and lawsuit and I had to cut you a check, clearly you don't want nothing to do with me either, especially how if you blocked me before that. Clearly you want nothing to do with me. So these kids, they don't want anything to do with me if they're talking all of this shit. They're going to social media instead of reaching out to me or some shit like that. Then let them do their thing.
But you know what? Here's where I'm coming from. Like I said, I gotta learn a little more about that whole situation. But apparently, the reason why she even brought it against him was because he was slandering her name in private. So I don't know what that whole situation.
Hey, how you gonna like? Because how you gonna put a defamation suit on somebody that's slandering you in private? I thought it was public.
I think he also went public with it, but I'm not too familiar with that.
So I'm not going to delve into that. He told people the situation because that's defamation. So what the she doesn't even have a career. What does she do? I seen her Instagram, like I said, but she doesn't have a career. She doesn't do anything. This is defamation of character. That's defamation of character. When you are a public figure and your career is contingent on people's perception of you. All right. So you get what I'm saying? And when people hear these things, it defames your character. So if anybody has been defamed out of all of them, it is the most famous one out of all of them. Is the most famous one.
But like I said,
I'm not going for the okie doke. And I'm the type of guy, like I said, if everybody's doing one thing, everybody's in the angry mob, I'm going to question the angry mob. Why is everybody all attacking him? Then let me see, what's really going on. And then from what I've seen again, and I would know because I know his levels to bad dads. Okay, so I know what it's like. So if anybody can talk about this shit, it's me. It's me. And it's not at all what they say that it is. Because again, this man was there for you from jump. But you know what? Me and your wife, me and your mother, we got a divorce, but I still was there for you. I still supported. I still had you on tour with me, singing on stage with me. I helped you. I did everything for you. And then once I just say, you know what? I think it's best that, you start to do for yourself. And my wife is giving you an opportunity to work at a, I'm pretty sure, a really good hospital. And you won't even apply to the job because you can't even pass the freaking drug test. You couldn't even get past the drug test because all you do is sit at home and freaking be a pothead and smoke weed. This is what I'm saying. Like, it's like if there was something for me to go off with these people, I would say, but there's literally nothing for me to go off of on their behalf. This is what I'm saying. Like, there's literally nothing about the situation I can say, you know what? Well, I can see where his sons are coming from. Because if they said, yo, he was an abuser, if they abused him, or if you abused them, then I would understand. But clearly that's not the case. This is about money. And I know for a fact, like for me personally, I know how money, when it comes to like family and stuff like that, will literally like destroy relationships. It don't even be like personal. It literally be money. It'll always come down to money. And that's how, unfortunately, I'm going to be real. That's how black people are. Money is where black people draw the line when it comes to family. That is a fact. And people take it personally when you don't give them money or some shit. Because some people, it's like if I ask you for like $10 or some shit, if you ain't got it, I ain't gonna get mad at you. It is what it is. But then I'll you know what I'm saying? But some people be like, oh, I know you got the money. That's how they are. So if these kids are looking at it like, yo, it's not like my dad is going through something. He doesn't have the money. I know he has it. He could pay for me for another 20 years if he wants to. But now all of a sudden he wants to cut me off. That's the rationale. That's the perspective. These are the people that y'all are defending.
Hello. But I like I said, we don't know the real, because they could come out tomorrow and say, he did this, he did this, he did this. We don't know what happened behind the scenes. That's why
if that was the case, then they would have said it already.
No, because even his ex-wife hasn't really said anything.
It's been going on since 2019. That's when Brian actually came out and said something. So if this was in fact the case, why would it take you 3 years to finally come out and say, oh, well, he was abusing me the whole entire time? That's what I'm saying. If I was in his shoes, why would I wait that long to give out pertinent information that'll illustrate to people like me who have a good, perspective or perception of Brian? But they didn't, because that's not true. This is not no Bill Cosby case where they got to wait 15, 20 fucking years to say, oh, this guy was abusing me. No. If that was the case, that's true. All they said was he abandoned us. and we feel like he cares more so about his new family than us. And I'm saying the whole point that I've been making is that Brian has had valid, legitimate reasons to not acknowledge these people.
When it comes
because he could have said worse about them. He could have said worse about them. He said in the video, yo, I'm proud of them. He said, I've always been proud of them. He said, I've always been proud of how talented they are. This is a fact. He could have easily threw them under the bus, and he didn't do that. He made it very clear what the situation was. So for people to make it about race and make it about all this other types of stuff, to me, is ridiculous.
But like I said, I don't know their personal life, so I'm not going to really delve into that because I don't know them personally.
Me neither. But I'm going off of everything that they've put out there, and I've made a sound decision for myself because I read the posts of his sons, I read the posts of the daughters, and then I heard Brian Mcknight talk about the shit. I've heard him say what he had to say. So this is what I'm saying. Like, we don't have to know their personal life in order to make a sound, like to have an honest assessment about the situation. And I'm just saying, I'm like, yo, me personally, the reason why you and a lot of other people are saying what they're saying is because the majority of people are like, my dad could punch you in my face. He could speak, death in my direction and do all of this type of, stuff to me. But he's always going to be your dad. She's always going to be your mom. Fuck that shit, dude.
No,
that's not family to me. That's not family. You know what I'm saying? And to me, that's not what being a man is. A man is you should want to have your own shit at the end of the day. Once you get to a certain age, it's not about your parents and it's about you. So if I'm in Brian Mcknight Jr.'s shoes, I'm gonna just go my own way. And then when people want to keep talking about it, I'll be like, yo, y'all chill out. That's it.
But
it's because I know that, the more that my dad's name is out there for this reason, people are gonna look me up and my little music and all that other types of stuff. That's what I'm saying. Like a little fly that won't go away.
But this is not the same situation like 50 Cent and his son, because that was just clear off the bat what was going on with that.
So 50 Cent didn't disown his son.
I'm sure he said some crazy things.
Son. 50 Cent does not mess with his son. He said that many different times. They asked.
Yes, but he still acknowledges him.
He said, do you still love your son? Nigga said no. Go look it up. It's a whole interview. He said, you still love your son? Nigga said no. He said, how long? He said, a complicated question you got to ask yourself is how long can you continue to love something that don't love you back? That is a fact.
Right. But hold on. But I think the difference is when you have someone in your life who's like that, his son is completely different than what Brian Mcknight's kids are doing.
How do you know that? It's all about money. Okay, so what is the difference? You tell me what's the difference.
Because the difference is 50 Cent's son decided to hang out with the son of the guy who tried to murder him. That's different. Nobody, Brian Mcknight's kids ain't doing that. Now, like I said, his daughter.
It's not even that though, because the situation 50 Cent said out of his own mouth, it really stems from my relationship with his mother. He said that's where the entitlement comes from because he's the one putting the battery in your back. You don't think Brian Mcknight's first wife is doing the same thing? And I said that
I haven't seen anything from her.
I said it's a choice. I said it's a choice that you make where if let's say if my mother says, oh, I don't rock, with your father, so then that means I make a choice to say, all right, so I won't rock with him either because you said that. And then vice versa. I'm not like that. If I start rocking with somebody, it'll be because I have my own personal reasons for not rocking with him. It's not going to be because she told me to do that or it has something to do with somebody else's influence. Nah.
But you know what?
There's no difference. People are just giving 50 Cent a pass because y'all like him or some shit like that. And I like 50 Cent too. And I agree with 50 Cent. Y'all can go back and listen to what I said about that situation. That's what I'm saying. So Brian Mcknight said the same thing. How long can I keep loving somebody that don't love me back? It's the same thing. It's the same perspective. And if somebody were to ask 50 Cent, he would say, yo, it's the same thing.
Yeah, I wonder what 50 Cent's take would be on this. But
it's going to be the same thing that he said about his son. It's the same thing. I don't know.
But his son is
what you said is not no real difference to me.
It is different because when you have someone, their children is different. Like you have one child actively trying to mess with his father deliberately on purpose, antagonize him. And 50 Cent is a different dude. He's from the streets. So he's going to act different.
He did that. All right, so this is public stuff. But if your son ran into your house and vandalized everything, you and your girl get married and stuff like that, and then he goes in there, or you get married to a new wife, and then he goes in there and then he destroys all your personal belongings, your wedding photos and stuff like that. What are you gonna do?
It's still my son,
That's the
but
same
he
thing.
just
That's
ain't
behind
invited
the
to the
scenes. He
house.
said that.
No,
Because
but
it's not in the public eye, that makes it any less of a slight. I like I said, I don't understand y'all. I don't
no,
understand
no,
it
no,
because you
no.
can't pick and choose. You can't pick and choose what's right and what's wrong. Right is right and wrong is wrong. There's
No,
really
it's
there's no gray
no,
area.
but I think people are mad at him because when you actively, for instance, like I said, he don't have to have a good relationship with us because obviously he doesn't, right? But to actively go on social media and talk to about your stepdaughter the way you want to talk to your own daughter,
50 Cent talked.
Jules,
50 Cent talked. You said the same thing about his son, if not worse. If not worse, he didn't say, "Oh, I'm proud of my son," and I'm still proud of him now. It's just, yo, we don't have a relationship anymore. 50 Cent said worse. 50 Cent said his son is a snake. Yo, like Brian, that's what I'm saying. Brian could have said the same thing about his son, but he didn't. You gotta, because the thing is, you didn't watch the video, so that's what I'm saying. You didn't hear from the horse's mouth the way that he
are
said
you
it.
talking about the video he did like selfie style?
Yes, yes.
I did watch one video. I think it was like 2 minutes.
It's
Um,
on. It's on
and
YouTube.
he did address it.
It's on YouTube. It's on
Yeah,
YouTube.
I watched the snippet of it. I mean, he did address a little bit. For me, I'm looking at it like the way he talks about his new family. Jules, I became a girl dad because of you. Like, come on, you have a daughter
Yeah,
already.
it's
You
a
know what
it's
I'm
a
saying?
singer
Like,
Brian Mcknight response to claims he abandoned his kids, and it's from 3 years ago. It's the first thing that comes up.
and I couldn't ask for a better daughter. You're announcing the birth of a new child. You're naming your child the same. You naming your child Brian Mcknight when you already have a son named Brian Mcknight Jr. on the day of his birthday. I
You
mean,
can
just
do
little
that.
tiny stuff like
But
that.
whoa,
You
wait.
can, but
You can do that, okay? Because Errol Spence Jr., his father's name is Errol Spence Jr., and he named his son Errol Spence. So I don't
no,
know.
no. But it's petty to announce the pregnancy of your new son on the birthday of your own son. Like it's
Let me
just
tell you
like
something. But I'm never going to criticize somebody for doing whatever it is they feel they need to do to live peacefully, because he's not out here saying things about them, starting with them, doing bad things to them. He's not abusing them in any kind of way. To me, I feel like Brian Mcknight is being bullied, if I'm being honest with you. And that's why it's like me, I'm going to go with the minority. So if the minority of people are defending Brian McKnight, I will join that minority proudly, because I'm not just gonna go and project, like my personal beliefs onto him. It's like, no, like just like how if you feel like, yo, hey, your mother's always gonna be your mother, even if she hits you with a car. Like if that's what you feel, then sure, like have at it. I don't care. But that's his methods to live his freaking life and to be happy. So if only having the people that cares about him, that appreciate him, that treat him right in his bio, that's like MySpace top 8 type shit. Like I don't have to put somebody in my top 8 if I don't want to. If I don't want to, it's that is my personal social media. And if these people treat me like dirt and only want me for money and don't care about me and don't appreciate anything, I don't have to acknowledge them at that point, especially because they're adults. If they were 15, 16 years old, then I say, well, yeah, you know what? They are, teenagers, and you know what I'm saying? They don't know any better, but we're talking about 33 and a 30-year-old. And the 33-year-old is really the ringleader, the main one, because I didn't even know what Nico freaking looks like. At least I do know what he looks like, but I've never heard him speak, and I've never looked for social media to know what he had to say on the subject, but I'm pretty sure they're all in cahoots. Fine, but stop bullying this guy, through social media.
I don't like I said.
Because again, I have an unorthodox, view of families. Like I pick my family. You see what I'm saying? I don't have to, just deal with the default settings, or I don't have to rock with people just because you say I have to, or because that's your beliefs. Fuck you and fuck your goddamn beliefs. That's just my opinion. Because me personally, it's like I've grown up, and to be honest with you, and I'm being 100% transparent, the people that have treated me the worst in my life have all been family, have only been family. I'm talking about I've never had any real situation with strangers or people that I really know like that. The people that have treated me the worst have all been family members. So therefore, I don't ever have to acknowledge any of them if I don't want to. And I don't give a shit what anybody thinks about that shit. So for me to see him feel the same way that I do, and then for people to call him a nasty soul, how am I a nasty soul if I'm distancing myself from people that don't treat me right? And mind you, and on top of that, this is old news. I can understand if this was like yesterday. But this is a picture that he posted in 2020. But people want to resurface the shit because he's their punching bag, for Black Twitter. For some reason, he's just a target. And to me, that's not cool. That's not cool. But God forbid something happened to Brian McKnight tomorrow. Oh, I always loved Anytime. I always loved Back at One. I always loved, Brian McKnight and all of this shit. Like, this is what I'm saying. Like, this is how hypocritical people are. Because Brian McKnight gave us so much music, and he was a good guy. Like it's not like we're talking about Lil Fizz or some shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, come on, come on.
Hold on. But I think there's more to the story than we know, and that's
You're
why
saying that in favor of these kids because
no.
You're part of the angry lynch. You're part of the angry lynch mob. You
no,
are.
but no, because hold on. I say that because, like I said, I didn't know my mom's side of the story until I got older, and I used to look at her like, why she treat me the way I do? I'm the oldest of the kids she adopted. So I always looked at like, why she treat me a certain way, and then she actually sat me down and talked to me about it, and she opened up for the first time in ever, and then I understood. Oh, okay, I see why, because she has a lot of trauma from when she was a kid.
But again, would you talk to her now? Would you go to her house and hang out?
But
would you go to her house and hang out?
I have, yeah, I would.
No, I would, yeah, bro. Because you said you wouldn't buy her anything for her birthday.
Yeah, I mean, we have issues, but she's still my mother.
Exactly, you have issues. But let's say somebody were to try to tell you that you're a nasty soul because you don't want to buy your mother something for your birthday. What would you say?
Well, I tell them screw off.
Exactly.
But I'm not no. But it's different though. We're no, because I'm not disowning my mother.
No one can tell you that you are a bad person for having issues with somebody else. No one, and mind you, I'm not saying Ryan is perfect. I'm not saying they're perfect, but I'm just calling it real. For people to say he's a bad person for not wanting to deal with people that don't treat him right, just the same thing. Tell him to screw off. That's the same thing. It's because it's not you that's under attack. It's you're not empathizing. You're not putting yourself in his shoes. I just put you in his shoes because it's the same situation.
But you know what?
People say it's because his kids, they're not kids anymore. There are adults now. There are adults. Yeah. Me personally, like I said, I have a certain respect that I give my parents, even though I have my frequent differences with them. Okay, I can still say, you know what? My mother helped me with this. My father helped me with that. So even if we don't get along, I can still give them that. I can still give them that. These niggas, they don't even do that shit. Okay, and I would say that I've had worse father issues than these niggas do. I can say that shit for sure. Niggas that have had, father issues in life. I've had real father issues in my motherfucking life. Okay, so I can see, I'm looking at the situation with a different type of lens than the average person. And motherfuckers that know me that are listening to this shit, they know what I'm talking about. I know. So that's what I'm saying. So just like how I can never sit there and talk out of my neck and tell you, yo, why you not buying your mom, something for her birthday, man? Yo, that's your mom, man. That's always going to be your mom. Like that bullshit, yo. Nah, you like, yo, because me and her, we got our problems. You can still say, just like me, you say, you know what? Me and my mom, we had to sit down so I have a certain understanding of my mom and I can give her a certain level of respect because I have an insight to her perspective. But that don't mean all of a sudden you're going to start rocking with her, sleeping at her house and doing this and doing that. No. And other people have to respect that because you as a man, you're entitled to live your life 100% on your terms. Brian McKnight is doing that. He's living his life 100% on his terms, not the public's terms, not his family's terms, on his terms. And he's entitled to that. And Brian McKnight Jr., he should be doing the same thing. Because if I was him, it's like, yo, I don't even want to talk about that nigga. If I don't fuck with him no more, if it's not like a meaningful conversation or some shit, I don't even want to talk about the nigga no more.
I disagree. But you know why? Because just because you're older doesn't mean the trauma isn't there. There's a lot of things from my childhood. I'm 27. There's still things I'm dealing with from when I was a kid. My mom is in her 60s. There's still a lot of things she's still dealing with.
Yeah, but your trauma, but you don't live your life based on your traumas or let your traumas define how you live your life. Because to me, I've been through some traumatic shit too. I've been through some real ass shit in my life. Okay, but that does not mean that my traumas are on the forefront of my mind to the point where how I deal with people and my perceptions of life and the way that I live is based off of that. Because my life is not about my traumas. I overcame my traumas and I'm here today. I don't think about my traumas no more. My life is not about my motherfucking parents. You know what I'm saying? Like in me, the relationship that I have, it's like, yo, I'm living my own separate life, my own timeline. Like that is it. In my life story, they're extras. They're extras. They're background. If not, like they got one line or some shit. If my life is a movie, they have one line in that motherfucker. My current life movie right now. My current life movie right now. You know what I'm saying? They have one line. And after that, background, that's it. That is it. You're not a supporting character. You're not main character. You know, NPCs. NPCs. So if I'm Brian McKnight and I really don't rock with my pops like that, then at that point he should be an NPC. Why are you even talking about him? See, the difference between Jaden Smith and Brian McKnight Jr., you know what Jaden Smith did? He took Smith out of his name. He took Smith out of his name, not because he has a problem with his father, it's because he wants to build his name on his own. Because he knows his last name carries weight, but he wants to build his own weight.
Smith?
Huh?
Jaden took Smith out his last name?
Yeah, so when you look him up on Apple Music or Spotify, something like that, his name is only going to come up as Jaden, like his artist name. Obviously not his real name, you know, not like on some, you know, Kanye West to Ye type shit, but his artist name is just Jaden. So if you see his name come up on like Rolling Loud or Coachella or some shit, it's only going to say Jaden. And I think Willow, and I think it might be the same thing for her too, because I respect people like that. They want to force their own path, their own lane, make their own money for themselves. So if Will Smith never gave them $1 ever again in life, they'd be fine because they spent all this time building because they had ambition. I respect people with ambition. And I know everybody individually, they have to find that, but it's like, if you're not even trying to find that shit, I don't respect it. I don't respect it because he's still because if I was him, I gotta change my shit to Brian or some shit. Or freaking, you know, my whatever, if he has a middle name or some shit like that. If you really want to absolve yourself. Have nothing to do with him. Cut the cord then. Because to me, this whole shit with him, now I'm talking about just from a junior to another junior. Because like I said, I know if you're going to do that, then cut the cord then. You should have no problem doing it because you're at that stage now where it is about you. In your life, you are the main character. You are the star. Don't make him the villain. It just has nothing to do with him anymore. I wouldn't even want him in my movie, in my life, if that's the case. And I wouldn't even want people to keep associating my name with that because that makes him come off like a little nigga or some shit. Like your dad is still sonning you. Because the only time people ever talk about you is when they talk about him. Come on, bro. Let's be real. He's still sonning himself. And that nigga doesn't even have enough awareness to understand that outside of your pops, nobody cares about you. And you should want to change that. Nothing wrong with that because he didn't ask for Brian McKnight to be his father. But now at that point, I would say, okay, how can I get people talking about me for me and not my pops? And that's some drama at that. Because what am I getting out of that? Nothing. It's going to make his father probably get more streams to his music and stuff like that. People be like, oh shit, I haven't listened to Brian McKnight in a while. And then some people are going to listen to him. That's what I'm saying. Like you should want to elevate. Because it's another level, but people like that, to me, it says a lot about who he actually is. And I'm speaking facts. That's just how it is.
But I think when you look at the way, like I said, I don't know their personal life, so I'm gonna stay away from that. But I think when he says stuff like "You're the daughter I always wanted," you made
that's how he feels. But you can't police that. That's how he feels.
Hold on. But let me get this out though. Let me get this out. But I think first of all, when you're a public figure, everything's under scrutiny. So even though he's saying this how I feel, you're in the public and you're putting out in the public. So people
who cares? But because you know why? He doesn't care. Why should he care? Like
he shouldn't care. But you know what?
He shouldn't care because who are we to him? Who is the public to him? This is a bunch of war. Like I don't even know these people. So if I'm talking about my daughter and I'm proud of her for whatever reason, and it's not even like he got her a Ferrari or freaking Lamborghini. It was a $45,000 BMW. Like it wasn't even like some next whip. You see what I'm saying? And then like because if he was faking some shit, he wouldn't have done that. But he's a real dude. He doesn't care. Why should I care about people that don't help me with anything? They didn't get him to where he's got to, you know, in terms of success. They don't help him pay his bills. They're not with him on tour. They don't help him with anything. So why should I care how you feel?
But hold on. Let me just say this though. Let me get to, and I think this is why a lot of people say, like for instance, like I said, me and my mom don't have the greatest relationship, but when I meet her friends or whatever the case, I'm her son. I said some crazy thing. Me and my brothers, we've said some crazy things to not all of us, but we said some crazy things to growing up and when we became teenagers and even in our early 20s. You said crazy things to her. I could be right, could be wrong, right? But we said crazy things. But even to this day, she still treats us, and she adopted us. She still treats us like her kids. And I think for a lot of people, they see how he treats his stepchildren, and he treat like this whole idea that okay, you're adult now, go about your business, right? But then you see the same guy who told you that doing the same thing, buying someone who's an adult a brand new BMW. You're gonna be like, yo, what are you talking about? This is not even your real daughter. You buying this person this?
Real quick, do you know how old the girl is? I don't know how old she is.
She's 23, 24.
Okay.
So she's older than his
Right,
daughter.
right. But when Brian Mcknight Jr. was that age, he was doing for him too. So what the fuck? Like, cause that's what I'm saying. Like, definitely watch that video when you get a chance. And he said, yo, he's bought his sons multiple cars. Like, it's not like these niggas are hurting for money. They're not hurting for money. They're not broke. Look at his Instagram. I'm like, yo, he was in the studio chilling, playing his music and stuff like that. So it's like, and it's not like he's like really famous. People know him. The bread that he's probably got comes from his pops. Still, money that he probably has left over from his dad. I don't know what these guys, because they didn't get a job, so I don't know what they do. But I'm just saying, everything that he did for his daughter, or I mean his stepdaughter, that girl from the picture, he did the same thing for his kids. He did the same thing for them. The same thing.
But
and then like he didn't do it. I can understand like if he never did those things for them, and then all of a sudden like he was doing it for somebody, because there is that, and somebody did say that on social media where like they'll say that a father will treat his actual children like dirt, then get in a whole nother marriage and treat then be the perfect father to his stepchildren. But in this case scenario, that's not the case, because he did do those things for his actual kids and they never appreciated it clearly.
But this more, like I said, there's more to this. But I'll use this situation I know personally. There was a couple in old projects I grew up in, and the guy got a new girlfriend, and it was it was a black couple. The guy found a white girl. All of a sudden, he forgot about his kids in the project. He moved on. He got his own and I only know about it because you know how black people are. They like to gossip and all that stuff. But he living a whole life chilling with his stepchildren and all that stuff. And I'm not one to judge him. I'm not even judging Brian. I'm only speaking on behalf of the people who are outraged by it. Because people looking at, okay, your son did this, your kids did this, but what about your younger daughter? Because his daughter, the one I'm talking about, was someone he cheated on his first wife with, and had another child outside the marriage. So, and the fact that his first wife still has a good relationship with her, she calls her mom, she calls her daughter, they have that relationship. And like I said, everybody's relationship with their parents is different. So she might have a great relationship with her mother than with her father, right? But I think for some people looking at it like, yo,
you said who cheated on who?
Brian Mcknight cheated on his first wife with another woman. That's how his youngest daughter,
the cute one.
Yeah, the cute one. It's not his first wife's actual daughter. It's another woman's daughter. But I think people are looking at it like, you treat her like garbage. And I know you're going to say the lawsuit thing, but like I said, I don't know what happened with that whole rape thing. But I mean, if someone is talking about you, that's a touchy thing. I'm not going to get into that. But I think people are outraged the fact that
his daughter, she's really cute.
She's fine.
She's valid. She's valid, man.
Yeah, but I think people are just looking at like, yo, even despite your problems, like I said, this kids and parents that really don't need a relationship at all, but to see someone, a public figure, act like his older children, even his youngest daughter, don't matter because he got a new wife, and his new family is more important. Like I said, I mean, everybody's different. I just wouldn't, if I had children and I had a bad relationship with my children, even if I remarried, I wouldn't act like they're forgotten. I may not financially support them, but if I die tomorrow, I'm not gonna say my stepchildren are my surviving children. I'm gonna put, and I think that's what people have said, because he's acting like his older children and his other children are non-existent. And he's talking about you made me a girl dad, like you won't have a daughter. You're the best child. It's a lot. It's a lot. I don't know what you do.
Say that again.
Yeah, I don't know what she does. I don't know what his kids do. I did
Come
take
on now. She's probably 22 or about to be 23 or some shit like that. So that's what I'm saying. Because basically offline, I just said that I'm looking at his daughter's Instagram and she was just in Italy last year in June of 2022. I said, how do you think she got there? Because to go to Italy ain't cheap. You know what I'm saying? Like, you need money to go to these places, especially the lifestyle they look like, she living. How you think she living at? She in this backyard with this nice pool in the back. Yo, Bree Mcknight, if you're listening to this, you know what I'm saying? Yo, hit me up, for real. You know what I
This
mean?
guy,
You know
how
what I'm saying?
Lori
But
Harvey, he can't. He loved it.
she look good, bro. Like, I'm not even gonna lie. Like, she's really cute, like, for real. But
Yeah, but hold on. Let me before you go. I just want to. I think is I don't know how it resurfaced, but I think it's more so the fact that it's the captions and the fact that it's a different race. Because we talked about this all the time with a lot of celebrities, a lot of black male celebrities. They have white wives or other race wives and stuff, and how that's a big thing. So some people are looking at it like, yo, you disowning your black children for a bunch of Asian kids who already has fathers in it. I don't know what the father situation is like, but you stepping in this other woman's life, you taking care of her children. You're telling your other kids go f off, and these are your children. And I think the captions are the reason, because like I said, when you hear stuff like "you're the best daughter I can ask for," you're the greatest thing to happen. I mean, it sounds petty and it sounds like you're trying to erase your other children. And I think for some people, they're looking at it like, yo, you crazy for that. But again, everybody's different. I'm not out here saying he's the worst guy in the world. I'm just me speaking
other
on
people
what
are,
happened.
and that's
Yeah,
why
yeah,
I
yeah.
stress that, because other people
Right,
are. That's my biggest issue.
right.
There's levels to this, and there are way worse dads than that. Believe that.
Oh, easily. And I think some people, I'm sure, lashing out because they probably been in a situation or they're struggling with daddy issues or whatever the case may be. But like I said, it's just the language. Like my mom, first of all, every parent plays favorites. I mean, they try to act like they don't, but I know that happens. But I think like my mom wouldn't go on Facebook and say this the best son I can ask for to a dude that is not even related to her. She wouldn't do that, and like you and her and my sister, right? She has they had a lot of issues even since I was a kid. But the little girl my mom just adopted not too long ago, she wanted to say she's the greatest daughter I ever asked for. Like that's crazy. Like the fact that and if she wants to do that, I look at her a little crazy, like, yo, you got an older daughter, and you putting this on public. And I think that's why some people are upset because the way he's saying things, it's not just saying congratulations, I'm proud to be your father, but it's the fact that you're saying you're the great, you made me a girl dad. Stuff like that. It's like, you already have a daughter. What you mean you're not a girl dad already? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, yeah, Brianna McKnight, like I said, man, yeah,
No, she's fine though.
I'll never disown you. I always
this,
put you know what I'm saying? I'll never disown you. I'll be her daddy. I'll be all that shit because she look
this guy.
motherfucker. She look good. So, if you just happen to be scrolling through YouTube and listening to this, don't take none of what I said personal. I'm just, defending your dad because I think he's a nice guy. But yeah, like, come holler at your boy, man. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, she look
This guy.
he's
Nah,
fine.
I saw. I was like,
Yeah,
yeah,
nah, she
no.
look good. I'm not even gonna lie. She look good. She
I mean,
looks
even,
good. But that's
I
what I
mean,
said. Like, because I said earlier anyway, I'm like, look, like, she's a bit younger than those two. All right. And he even said in the video that she's a different story because especially that was 3 years ago. So she was still like 17, 18 at the time that he made the video. If my math is right, obviously, I'm not thinking. So he's probably still helping her. Maybe like I said, I don't know because she's a lot younger than his sons. When he was talking about, yo, you got to do for yourselves, he was talking about his sons, not her. And if he feels that way about her, well, shit, like I said, we don't know how she feels about him. She might not even like the guy. You know what I'm saying? I don't know.
yeah, I don't know, man. This is it's a hot button thing, especially in the black community, because I think a lot of people look at it like, yo, we see this this kind of not this story particular, but we see it, the whole whitewashing, not whitewashing, but the whole push for interracial relationships and the lack of already black dads in the home. And it's sad for me to see stuff like this because, like I said, honestly, I don't really pay attention to Brian McKnight. I know he is. I've listened to some of his music. I don't think he's an overall horrible dude. I don't think he's the worst parent people are making him out to be. But again, it's someone said this before. When you're famous, a celebrity, you're public property at that point. Whatever you do is going to be
I don't know. I don't know about that. I don't know if I would use that terminology that you're public property.
I mean, but think about it.
That is not true. It's just that your personal business is just out there for people to critique. The average person, people's personal business is not all out there. So people don't know unless you volunteer that information. But in their case scenario, he might not even have to say anything. It's just more so, you got like, news outlets and stuff that are inquiring and digging for that type of stuff. And that's how it happens. Because again, someone just decided to retweet that on Twitter, and that's how people started talking about it again. Not because he has anything really going on outside of that. This is really the only thing, on his, like things that are out there. But other than that, his whole career has only been about the music.
Now I don't know. I don't know this man. I think. I mean, there's some people out here who some people are saying that he's struggling with his black identity and
No,
all
he's
that.
not. Yeah, no, he is not. Like I said, that is BS. But
But actually, let me ask you a question real quick.
what's up?
Because I'm seeing a lot of people saying this too. They say like, you know, his wife. How does his wife lay up every night knowing that she already has kids? She married a dude with kids, but he's taking care of her kids, and he's publicly acknowledging her kids and disowning his own biological children. How do you feel about that statement?
Say that one more time. I'm sorry, because I was actually looking some shit up.
No, you good. So I see some people saying like his wife is crazy, even worse, because she already has children from an outside previous marriage relationship, whatever the case may be. But how does someone sit up at home knowing that a man abandoned his own children to take care of her children, and publicly acknowledging her children, but not his own?
Okay, all right.
What do you think
So
about that?
I will say this. Obviously she's his wife, and they're married. So of course they've had conversation about this. I'm pretty sure they've had many conversations about this scenario. And I think for her, people are going to paint Leilani as the bad guy regardless, because she's the new wife, the non-black wife. So everybody's going to just try to figure out a way to vilify her. I think really for her, and obviously I can't speak from her perspective, but I can only say it's kind of best if she really stands back and then let that be a battle that Brian fights. Because at the end of the day, from what Brian said, that she's really extended olive branches, to them multiple times. And she said that they slapped their hand away at every single turn. So what can she do? The best thing she could do is just, again, stand back and stay quiet. Because at the end of the day, she's always going to be the bad guy to people that already have it in their mind that she's the bad guy. Because again, she's the new wife and the non-black wife. So people are going to always paint it like she's manipulating Brian, which I honestly don't think that's the case, because she doesn't strike me as a type, and neither does Brian, But I actually, I think I should have read this in the beginning, but these are pretty lengthy. But I want to read the Instagram posts of Brian and Brianna, fine ass, and then I'm gonna, try to wrap things up. But I'm gonna start, with Brianna, ladies first. You know what I'm saying? Brianna, if you're listening to this, I'm gonna timestamp this so you can hear it. DM me. So she says, "Daddy's little girl was never really a thing for me. Nobody understands what I've been through except for my siblings. Believe it or not, I'm not always the person I seem to be. I'm not always happy, and most of the time I'm battling my own demons just like everyone else. I can help you with that. I grew up thinking that the things that happened to me and my dad's relationship was my fault. I grew up thinking that he doesn't want to come visit me because he doesn't love me. Constantly put behind other kids that he will call his own, while I'm cast into a land far, far away in the back of his mind. It sucks knowing that someone else who's not even blood related to you comes before you in every single way. It sucks knowing that my phone calls have to go through a stranger I barely know, that my text messages are read without a response, and that my stepmother tells me that they wish the best for me. It kills me to know that it's so hard for me and my siblings to get a word in, not one word. At a very young age, I was always second place in my father's heart, maybe even third, fourth, or fifth, depending on the situation. My father hasn't called to wish me a happy birthday in years, and yet I sit by the phone every single year hoping that one day his heart will change. I'm so fortunate that I have two brothers who are father figures to me, who celebrate me and love me every single day, and that we make up the time that we lost. The anger and the sadness that I hold in my heart every day over this is sickening. It hurts knowing that my brothers went through this at my age and are still going through it, and that my little sister is going through this at her young age. So shit, we didn't even know she had a younger sister. We didn't even know. I don't usually write things like this, but I feel like enough is enough. And like BJ talking about Brian Mcknight Jr., I want to share my side of the story. I hope that there's someone out there that has gone or is going through the same thing. Some teenage girl who deals with this shit constantly, who can relate to me and tell her side of the story and know that she's not alone. That was a lot. You know what I'm saying? I probably should have read this shit in the beginning. You know, my response to that is I've been in her shoes. In a obviously it wasn't the same thing, but there was a time where I was living under, my father's roof, and he had a girlfriend, and they had 2 kids while I was there. And I felt like it was, them against me for a very long time. And I would say those were, the loneliest years of my life. I will say that. And that's kind of how, I've learned to kind of, be by myself and to enjoy my own company, because I was stuck in a house with, 2 grown ass adults that made me feel several different ways that they didn't want me there. So I could relate to her. I could read that, and, her being very attractive aside, I could feel where she's coming from. You know what I'm saying? And, but, and again, they know their dad. All right. Right. I don't know her father. Again, I can only go based off of what he said and what she said. And a bit more was said as far as his sons were concerned than the daughter. So that's why, throughout the conversation, because I didn't even know that she took him to court for defamation of character.
Yeah.
I didn't even know those things. So this is what I'm saying. And again, when you involve courts and the government and certain shit like that, in my opinion, there's no takebacks. And I would say, really, for Brianna, it's like, I don't know, man. Like, my mentality when it comes to family is that you have to accept the fact that people are always going to be who they are. And you could want a relationship with your father, but you got to understand that this is the same guy. So whether they ever speak or not, which I'm pretty sure maybe at some point again, they may cross, like I said, I don't know. But for her, I feel like whatever it is that she's looking for, and of course, like, she should have her father in her life. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just, the standard, but we don't know the ins and outs. But just for her, I just feel like, I don't know, you might be better off by yourself. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Like I said, that is just my perspective. Obviously, like I said, I don't know what the fuck it's like to be a girl. And again, I don't know the specifics, but I understand where she's coming from. But at the end of the day, it's like, you had your part to play in the situation, whatever it was, and so did your dad. But if your life and his, if both parties involved feel like, your lives are better off without them, then no more talking about the shit at this point. And then no more entertaining the public talking about it either. And if you do speak out again, just tell people to chill out. But yo, what are your thoughts on what she said? I said about this in the beginning.
Yeah, and that's the reason why I took the stance I did. Because like I said, I did try to do a little digging before I came to a conclusion. I'm not one of these people who see one headline and say, oh, he did this. And I knew, and that's why I kept bringing up his daughter, because like I said, his sons, they're at an age where they should, they probably have their own lives and could probably stay away from it. But I'll tell you this, man, and I used to feel the same way that, I'm very independent. People don't need their fathers. People who suffer daddy and mommy issues need to get over it, right? And then I realized, in college, I met one of my buddies, Don, and I lived with them in Long Island. And him and his dad, and I mean, he has a sister and a mom and all that, but him and his dad, like the way how they interact, they have a great relationship. They hang out all the time. They go to Islanders games together. They talk with each other, they joke. And I think there's times in my life where even though I never really felt like I needed a dad per se, when I hear like Dancing with My Father by Luther Vandross, I used to cry in my room. There's days like that still where it'll choke me up once in a while. I ain't gonna lie, but it's not so much that I desperately need a father, but I understand why some people are like that, because when you don't have that, when you're missing that piece, for some people it's hard to get over, especially if you don't have somebody. So like Don's father kind of try to take me under my wing and show me, taught me a couple things, showing me a different life that I was used to. And that's why, like, now I understand how some people, some people might say people in their 30s need to get over it. But like I said, I have like I people I'm close to. I just for the privacy, I don't want to put nobody on blast, but I know people who are married right now who are in their 40s and they still trying to seek their mother's and dad's approval. And I think for her, like I said, and I think that's why so many people are mad at Brian. It's not so much that he moved on. I think it's the way he speaks in his post. Because like that post she did, I think was what? Even before the lawsuit, this like 2018 or something,
Some shit like
2017.
it was a while ago.
Yeah,
It was a while ago.
it's a while ago, and the fact that she said that then, and it's not like she won the lawsuit and then came out with it. It was like many years before. Like I said, I think when you're a celebrity, and I don't think Brian is a huge bad guy, but I watch a lot of older celebrities do interviews now. One actually came out and said I was a horrible father. I paid child support, but I didn't see my children, and so now I'm trying to rectify that situation. I can't remember if I find a name, I'll mention it. But it was just like a week or two ago. He came out and said I was a horrible father, and I think Brian, I don't think he was a bad guy, but I think some people, when your career is important to you, you kind of prioritize that. And I'm not saying that's him. I don't know his situation. But something tells me, like I said, he cheated on his first wife with the woman, with the mother of her. And I don't know what that situation is like. You know how some people, married, when you're married, you know what I'm saying? Are you really going to leave your wife for that other woman? No.
Well, that's what. But
Usually
we talk
never.
about marriage. But we talk about marriage all the time, and that's why choosing the woman that you actually have kids with and stuff like that is very important because again, he had her. He married her because he did the responsible thing. Is not because they were in love with each other. It's not like he
Right.
ever really even. And but that's just how it is. He is just honest about the fact. It's like, yo, it's not because I loved her. It's because I did the right thing, and I married the woman who was pregnant with my child. And then that's what
And
happens 13 years, later when you're married to a woman that you never even loved, you got 2 kids, you got a career, something like that is going to happen when your marriage started off on the wrong foot to begin with. So, and him being Brian McKnight's not the first man to cheat on his woman. You get what I'm saying? To cheat on his wife. So, that's just my opinion on that.
no, yeah.
That to me is inconsequential. We both can agree that we feel where she's coming from, but at the end of the day, I don't know. Like I said,
But
it's just one of those things where if they're able to resolve it, between her and I'm talking about the daughter, if they're able to resolve it at some point, then cool. But my thing is, she had her part to play, whatever the situation was. All right, it's not like it was 100% all on him. Because my thing is, she's just talking about how she felt. She didn't give no facts. The difference between me and her is I'll give the facts. The reason why I'm so adamant as far as defending Brian McKnight is because he gave the facts. He didn't talk about how he felt, because this is all feelings. And she's a girl and she's emotional. And I get that, but he said these are the facts. This is what happened. She didn't say that, so she's just talking about how she felt, and obviously it appealed to me and it appealed to you, but she didn't say it's not really her side. She just said how she felt.
but
So that to me, even then, that's not even that much, for me to go off of as far as clarity or context as far as her situation. A lot of the context came from Brian, and the thing is, I haven't even read his son's part yet, which I'm about to in a second.
yeah, but you know what? Let me say this. Even and I think a lot of it do like the sexual assault thing, sleep cousin sexual assault. I don't think that's something she's going to openly admit on Instagram. And like I said, there's a lot more. I'm sure that behind the scenes we don't know.
We don't know, but that's why I said it's like a situation has a beginning, it has a middle, and has an end.
Right.
And to me, the worst thing is it's like to try to assign blame because everybody's always going to focus on the last thing that happened. So the last thing that happened is Brian is not including them on his social media and he doesn't talk about them. And if he does, it's with a certain way, which again, he doesn't really talk about them like that. That's the last thing that happened. But what happened before that? What did the situation start with? There's always something that leads up to that last point. But it's because people only ever really see the end result. So it's like, well, who started it? Who instigated it? What really happened? That's what I'm saying. And you get that from the facts. It's like in the court of law, it's like they get the facts from one party and then they get the facts from the other party. And then the judge and the jury, they make their final judgment. But that's what I'm saying. But I've only heard the facts from Brian, and it's not like he talked bad about them. He just gave them the facts. He said, yo, this is what happened. This is when it happened. This is why it happened. And this is how I feel, or this is my perspective on my kids or my relationship with them as a result of all the facts that I just gave you. And that doesn't sound like a deadbeat dad. That doesn't sound like an abuser. It doesn't sound like he doesn't care. It's just like, yo, this is just what this situation has come to. Unfortunately, he said that.
But you know what though? And one, there was a comment that someone said, a lot of, and we talk about this in the Black community. A lot of parents have toxic ways, and that's another thing we don't talk about. Because I'm not saying you're wrong to defend him, because he could be right. But a lot of Black parents, you'd be surprised. And when it comes to celebrities, like I said, you even said he married a woman he wasn't even in love with. So for him, was he really a good? I'm not saying he was a horrible father. I'm not saying he wasn't a good father. I'm just saying you marry someone you really wasn't in love with. You're having children outside your marriage, and you're a famous musician.
That happened 14, 15 years after he married her. So I'm saying he didn't cheat on this woman or do anything wrong for 13 freaking years. And mind you, we talk about generations a lot. Brian Mcknight came from a generation where you get a woman pregnant, you do right by that woman, and you marry her. That's the tradition. So for people to try to say he's a deadbeat, I'm like, well, he married her and he stayed married to her for 13 years. Unfortunately, they didn't stay married. He cheated on her at some point. But again, given the context of why they got married in the first place, it's not that surprising that ended up happening down the line. That's what I'm saying. So right. How could he be this bad person, which he's not? And for me, it's again, I'm the type of person where, yeah, I can communicate with the way that what I say is, coded in emotions, and that's how I reach people, So I give you the facts, but it's got emotions in it. But the thing is, Brian, he gave the facts, and that's how I communicate. So if we're going back and forth, my nigga, I'm gonna just give you the facts, and then you do with that what you will. But he gave the facts, and what he said is along the lines of what his children said, which is exactly why I agree with him, because they pretty much mirrored everything that he said. So that means what he said was true. They just didn't agree. They just didn't agree with how he went about it. That's why.
I don't know. Like I said, I don't, especially with his younger daughter. I don't know about his older kids, but
I'm gonna read his son's a caption now.
Okay.
So Brian Mcknight Jr. said, so he said, I can't imagine abandoning my children, man. It's hard not to imagine the psyche of a man who can truly just turn his back on his actual sons, on his actual blood and creations. It's mind-boggling to me. I don't think there's any situation that merits the way my father has chosen to treat my brothers, my sisters, and his grandchildren, and one of which being his firstborn son, who also bears our name. It's insane to me to have absolutely no empathy for the type of life that was introduced to us, this guy can't even put sentences together. See, this is my problem with this guy. I can't even quote him, which I remember reading this in the beginning, but I'm reading it again. So only to come to resent us for that life catching up with us. It breaks my heart, but not for myself, specifically for my siblings and my children. They don't deserve this at all, not one bit. See, he said they don't deserve this at all, not open bit. Come on, bro. You got to proofread, man. And I'm not letting shit slide, not for 1 second. I've tried my best to take the high road and be the bigger man and all that positive shit, but there is a much bigger issue here. When it comes to Black fathers, especially in entertainment, that needs to be addressed. I believe there's a serious discussion that needs to be had with shit we have in it. And a part of me truly feels like our story is the one to begin the conversation that will lead to healing a lot of young men and women with abandonment issues. It's time to tell our side of the story. Son of a hashtag son of a legend. Like my nigga, like, yo, this is why hold up, man. Hold up. Nigga, don't put hashtag son of a legend and then you just go ahead and then just bash your father. Like, which one is it?
Social media.
And that's what I'm saying. Like don't give the facts. Like this is what I'm saying. Like with his daughter, I'll give her a pass for that, emotional, shit that she said. All right. But with this dude, it's like, you stop telling us how you feel and just give us the facts. You know what I'm saying? Like, you shouldn't be feeling no goddamn abandonment issues in your late 20s, dog.
I
Like
disagree. I disagree. I disagree.
And he was 30 years old at the time that he wrote this shit with his own kids. So, like, I get it. Like, everybody has their own, you know, like personal values when it comes to family and things like that. But I don't know, like, stop hanging your coat on his rack. Stop riding this man's coattails, bro. Like, I don't know personally, and it's like because he's still on that. I can respond to the shit because again, like he commented on the shade room, you know, comment section, basically saying why'd I use that picture of me, meaning he's still on the same shit. So I'm just saying, like, yeah, your relationship with your father, it is what it is, and you got to accept the fact as a man that it's probably gonna be what it is, and move forward with your life. That's it. I'm gonna be a bit more harsh on him because that nigga older. You know, Brianna, she's cute. I feel where she's coming from, so I ain't gonna say nothing about that shit. But this nigga, nah, bro, nah.
Nah, but you know what? I'll use this. Like Lil Romeo, I actually met Lil Romeo when I was working in LA. He's a nice dude, and recently him and Master P. I don't know if we did a quick take.
We did do a quick take on that.
Yeah, but Lil Romeo has his own wife, his own children now. And he has a life, right? But even for him, and I think, and that's why I said I disagree with in your 20s and stuff, because I think no matter who you, I think for us it's different. Everybody's different, but I think for, like, I have siblings who do suffer daddy and mommy issue. They do, and I like my older brother has a lot of anger in this because our father passed away when we was young. He don't have a good relationship with our mom, so he has a lot of resentment, a lot of anger, and rightfully I feel like he needs to work on it. But Lil Romeo's in his 30s, and he was complaining about his father because
it's not the same thing. But it's not the same thing though. See, Lil Romeo was never asking for money. Lil Romeo strikes me, and you could just tell he's the go-getter type. He has a name outside of his dad. If his father never gave him $1 ever again, Lil Romeo will be fine. Lil Romeo would not be complaining. In fact, he said his father was making money off of him. So saying I can't say the same thing about his son. How much money did his father ever make from his son? Nothing. His son doesn't have a career outside of his dad.
Hold on, but let me just get this, because the point Lil Romeo was making was there's a lot of toxic things people don't know about behind the scenes. People look at him and his dad, they saw him on a red carpet and thought that was the perfect father-son relationship. But he was talking about how he didn't see a lot of the money he made when he was a kid. When he was of age, and we talked about this with child stars. They grow up, none of the money is there no more. Now they got to work at McDonald's because they worked hard when they was younger. Now their parents spent all their money because you're under my roof. And you know, my mom was like that. I made my money. She used to take my check, and I used to get maybe $5 out of it. And I think that's
same thing happened.
Right. And it's fun. I mean, we can laugh about it now, but I think for a lot of people that creates a lot of trauma.
I'm not laughing about that shit now. Hell no.
No, yeah. No, I'm not laughing, but you know what I mean? Like, we can joke a little bit now, but back then it was hard. And I think that's why for him, like I said, I don't know their situation, but I think for them, they probably feel that, you know, there's a lot of things behind the scenes that people don't know about, and they're probably not ready to open up because I don't know what they're going to say. It could be something traumatic. I know his daughter's something traumatic, but I don't know what they're going to say about him, or that they probably don't want to start opening up that can of worms of social media. But I think that even, and you know, this goes back to something I always say, people need to stop putting celebrities on a pedestal because we don't know what these people are doing behind closed doors. Yeah, you see them on the carpet, they got on Dior, they got on these nice Nike outfits, and they look cool, and you want to be like them. But you don't know what they're doing behind the closed doors. And like I said, I'm not saying Brian Mcknight touching kids, and I'm not saying anything crazy. But I don't know how he treated his kids. Yeah, he was paying child support, but you know, just because you pay child support don't mean you use that for your children. Yeah, financially.
No, because you backtracking, because I already told you that they were all around each other. He had them on tour with them, performing at all his shows and stuff like that. And then their whole thing was Brian Mcknight and Sons. Okay, he was pushing for his kids, supporting them. So I already debunked that. So he was prior to that shit. I don't know about Brianna. All right, but Nico and Brian, they were all with him. Okay.
But what I'm saying, yeah, he used to do that, but that don't mean that he was there. Because some people could do stuff like I said, there's people that do stuff for the camera ops. I'm not saying he was doing it for the cameras, but we don't know what was going on when he was off stage. You don't know when he was off tour, what he was doing with them. He could have took him on tour, give him a little shine, and then when the tour is over, go back to your mother. I'm done with you for now. And I'm not saying he did that, but for them, they know. You know, I'm not like one of the things when me and you talk and you tell me about your father, I don't tell you, oh, do this and do that. I'll say like, you know, certain people might say, that's your dad, you gotta do this. I'm not like that. I'm not going to tell you because I don't know your dad. And I think for me, that's
you
all
can,
I'm saying.
But you can Google Brian McKnight and his sons. You can Google this shit and you see them all together. So it's not like they weren't there. You can Google it. They're there. You can see these YouTube
you know
and
what?
Google images.
But for instance, I actually did a little research. What was it? The dude, was it the Beatles? John Lennon, right? John Lennon has a son from a previous marriage, not the marriage when he got murdered. But his son was talking about, he did an interview years ago, and he was talking about it, where people used to see pictures of him on tour with his father. But the reality of the situation, people didn't realize.
I ain't just talking about on tour. I'm talking about red carpets. His son got on an all black and white suit, all smiled up. Then I see completely different. Completely. This is recent. His son is older. I ain't even talking. This is recent years. His son all smiled up, all smiles with his pops. His dad got a smile from ear to ear. Freaking playing music, doing all of that. Like, yo, come on. Like, that's what I said. Let's not sit here in front that he wasn't there because he was there. He was there for them.
All I'm saying is we're just looking at from the outside in. Just because, like, I could take a picture of my mom.
But they didn't say he was never there. His son never said he was never there. His son, you have to think about it. When did the complaints start? And then what does the complaint consist of? He never said my father was never there for me. They never said that. So you can't put those words in their mouth. That's not what they said. And then Brian told you. So I'm saying Brian said the situation, and then not in any part of Brian McKnight Jr.'s Instagram, caption did he say that my father was never there. They never said that. He never said, and mind you, they never even used the verb is deadbeat. They just feel that as a result of whatever it is that they went through in 2019 or whenever this whole thing happened, that he feels abandoned, but not that, oh, he was never there. Because how can I abandon you if I was never there? That's what I'm saying. How can I abandon you if I was a deadbeat? If I was a deadbeat, then that means I was never there. So that means how can I abandon ship if I was never on the ship, to begin with? So he was there. That's what I'm saying. He was there. And I'm telling you that there's proof on YouTube, video proof, and on Google Images. You see plenty of pictures of him and his sons. Everything was all good. And this must have been recent because his son got a whole beard.
But the point I was making
is Brianna's in the motherfucking picture.
Yeah. But hold on. The point I'm making, the reason why I brought up John Lennon's son is because, like I said, he was talking about how people perceived that because he was doing all these things for the camera with his dad, that they had a great relationship. No, him and his dad didn't have a great. I mean, when you're younger, I'm gonna get to that in a second with him and his son on the red carpet recently and all that stuff. But he was saying,
but if I have a bad relationship with my father, then why am I all out with him taking pictures and smiling for the camera and stuff like that? If I don't have a good relationship with him, this is what I'm saying.
Why?
Why?
Because you know why?
I know. You tell me why.
Because if you're yearning for that attention, you finally get it. You're gonna be happy.
That's some That's some BS. That is some BS. Because if my dad is an asshole, you're not going to. If my father is an asshole, he's not there. If he doesn't treat me right, I'm not gonna just go out and be fake. If that's what I'm saying. See, kids, this is what I'm saying to you. If I have a bad relationship with my dad, and he's in show business, if we don't have a relationship behind closed doors where I feel like is real, why would I hurt myself going outside to pretend? Because in fact, that would make me feel worse about my relationship if I'm only putting on for the cameras. You know why? Because they were all cool. They made music together. They performed together. They went to multiple events together. This only came to a head when he says, I'm not paying for you anymore. That is where the problem is. This is not any more, any less, as far as his two sons are concerned. That's what I'm saying. That's where it started. So we can't try to fill in the gaps and stuff like that when, again, you have the information that the sons gave you and you have the facts that Brian gave you, and then you bring it all together. It all started from 2019 and onward. So within the last 3-4 years, this is when it started. But prior to that, they had a good relationship with this guy. That's what I'm saying. Until, again, certain things started happening and then it started to deteriorate over freaking time. But
I'll say this. But you know what though? This is the only point I'm making. A lot of things don't make. Most people look at me and they think they perceive a certain thing, but I don't talk about my life growing up because that's not something I want to talk about. So when I do give a little, but if people knew half of the shit I went through, they look at my situation different. But I think for him, like I said, everybody's different. Me and you are different than most people. But a lot of people crave, like I said, I know people in their 40s still craving for mother's attention. I'm saying you already got multiple kids and you're still looking for mother's attention. But that's just because some people, it's that piece that they're always missing. And like I said, this is home because I know people in my family like this. And some people might look at it like, yo, you mad old. You need to move on from that. But everybody's different. Some people need that peace in their life to be closed. And like I said, I have a brother who, I mean, our dad passed away 20 years ago, but he still feels it because he's never had somebody who could bridge that gap. And all I'm saying is, yeah, him and his children probably was taking photo ops and all that stuff. But yeah, I mean, when you're craving that attention, you finally get it. It's like a little kid. Yeah,
Here's
you're an
something.
adult, but
Yeah,
just
yeah.
an,
Here's something that Brian McKnight Jr. said about his father, and I just came across this on Google. He says this is I guess maybe when his father was on, he might have been on better terms with his father. But hear this out. He says time really flies, man, and this is a picture of him and his father on like an old trip back in the day. He said time really flies, man. I give anything to go back to this family trip. Oh, but his father wasn't there, right? Exactly. It was pretty much the only one where we were all together. So much has happened since then. Life has thrown more curveballs than I could have possibly imagined as the 11-year-old you see pictured. As the 11-year-old you see pictured. As I get closer to the age my dad was here, I've grown through my own experience with becoming a father too early because his dad became because his dad became a dad, relatively early too. And
right, right,
it's given me a newfound empathy for what he must have been going through. Not that he
mm-hmm.
didn't have his own demons, but the added pressure of being a dad and a husband while balancing superstardom couldn't have been easy. I just want you to know I understand. You see what I'm saying? This is what I'm see. His father was not if his dad was this person that people are trying to make him out to be, then his father would you get what I'm saying? Like if he was this bad of a person, Brian McKnight
Right.
Jr. would not have made a post like that and would not have had found the words to say something like that. Okay? His father was there for them. And he even said, when I became a dad, it gave me an idea of what my pops was going through. You see what I'm saying? But now he won't do that. He won't give his father that credit, that grace, because it's not convenient for him. But this is how he really feels about his dad. Okay, and I understand. Yeah, his father, your dad might have a new relationship and stuff like that, and you guys weren't able to work it out. But this is who his father really was. This is what I'm saying. People are not posting that. People are not posting these things, but that is out of his son's own mouth through his own Instagram. I'm pretty sure that post is not even there. I'm pretty sure he deleted it. But this is what I'm saying. He knows. They know. I don't know about his little sister, but he knows deep down inside what it really is. And again, money change. It doesn't change you. It changes the people around you. And I've heard this so many times. So once you strip that lifestyle from them, they take it personal. They take it personal. So everything that's going on right now is about money. And I just gave you receipts. So I just told you how he really feels about his pops prior to this whole entire thing. So when his dad was still paying for him and doing all of that shit, he was still like, you know what, Dad, I understand what you're going through when you had me when you were too young, and you were there for me. And I actually understand you now. He doesn't understand now, but he will eventually, because deep down inside, Brian McKnight Jr. knows his dad was a good dude. Your dad was not abusing you. Your dad was not verbally abusing you. Your dad was not a bad guy. He just didn't want to pay for you anymore. I mean, yeah, he still has his own life. Just because he's your dad does not mean that, and he's not even with your mother anymore. So that doesn't stop his life and his own personal happiness. So you resent your dad because he's happy with his new wife? You could have been a part of that, but y'all chose to not be a part of that shit for whatever reason. Whether right or wrong, I don't know. But y'all made a choice. Your father is always going to be who he is, and you are always going to be who you are. If that shit don't match, it don't coincide, it don't complement each other, then just go your separate ways. That is it. That is it. But that receipts. Brian McKnight is not a bad guy, and I'm going to put this in the video too. Facts.
I don't know. I don't know, man. Like I said, I'm
You
not.
do know. You do know, because we've been talking for this. We've been talking about this for a while. At this point, if you don't know, you won't ever know.
But the reason was that I don't know.
See what people are saying about this person before they had a problem. That's what I'm saying. When you have eyes with somebody or some shit like that, if let's say like if a nigga told you that they had beef with me or some shit, and then like you go on their YouTube channel and all they're saying is good things about me, but when I said that I didn't have, I couldn't give them $100, all of a sudden I'm this bad dude. But when you listen to what they're saying about me, I'm just a solid dude, this good dude, but I just couldn't do this one thing for you, and all of a sudden I'm this bad guy. Come on now, that just tells you who they really are. Real shit. So I don't want to hear all of this stuff about Brian being a bad person when his son don't even really think that deep down inside. He don't. But we don't
really know
because
that.
All of a sudden it's like we friends, right? And I say, yo, Percy, man, I really need $100, man. Can you give it to me? And then you're like, yo, sorry, man, I don't have it. All of a sudden, it's fuck you, fuck this, fuck that. But then prior to that, I've been telling everybody that, yo, you're one of my best friends. That's fake. That's fake. That's just conditional. So this whole thing right now is, again, it only had to do with money. But based off of this, I wish I could like show it to you. He was there for him.
But you know what? Like I said, I didn't grow up with him. I don't know what he's. I don't know their personal life. And
you didn't. But I'm saying you can't keep throwing that out there because we don't need to know their personal life to know what they said, because we're going off of what they put out
but
there.
What I'm saying,
I just quoted him.
Hold on. But I disagree. You know why? Because people in relationships do it all the time. When you have a bad day, you call your buddy, yo, bro, she pissed me off. But we talking about this the other day about relationships. One day you might have an argument with your girl. You calling everybody, yo, she did this, she pissed me off. But then
but you know what's funny? But I said deep down inside, I actually really care about her. That's just a situation that's just gonna pass through. I don't really, in that situation, more often than not, you don't even really mean what you're saying. It's because when you're angry, it's hard to remember how you really actually feel, because anger is just gonna overtake your rationale, your rational thinking. So that's what I'm saying. Yeah. With this dude, again, they're angry over the fact that certain aspects of their lifestyle, courtesy of their dad, was no longer going to be. And they felt like it's not that he couldn't, it's because he wouldn't do that anymore. And they felt that it had to do with him having a new family. And I'm not saying they wrong for that, because they're not the only ones that feel ostracized when their family, when their father or mother goes on and starts a new family with somebody else. I understand that, but my whole defense has been about the fact that Brian Mcknight was always there for them. He was always a solid guy. And if none of them understand, I know Brian Mcknight, the nigga that's named after his father, his firstborn son, he knows deep down inside what's up. And that's exactly why they wouldn't pick up the phone and try to call him. I mean, even if they could reach him, what they gonna say? Other than sorry. That's the only thing that they need to be saying, because he might not understand now. But just like how when he became a dad, he understood, eventually when he gets a bit older, maybe another 10 years or so, he'll understand.
But you know what?
Because stuff like that, because there's no understanding verbal abuse, physical abuse. There's that's not up for discussion. But something like that where, it's like, I want my son to step up and do his own thing. But that's what? I can understand that, because I don't want any sort of ties to my parents at a certain point. I don't. Because I don't want anybody having power over me. You see what I'm saying? I don't want anybody to say, oh, what he has is because of me. No, I want it within myself. I have ambition within myself to do things for myself. If need freaking be. There's nothing wrong with getting help from your parents. But if you don't even want to lift a finger to help yourself, why should I help you? If you don't even want to help yourself? And then what does that say about how you view my help? Because I'm not just this infinite source, wealth, wellspring of money. It's like, you should feel like reluctant to want to ask your parents for help. Because me, like right now, it's like, I feel reluctant to do that. I'll only do that if I need to, but if I don't have to, I won't. That's a fact. But them, on some Marquise Jackson, 50 Cent son and shit. Come on now.
Nah, yeah. But like I said, it's just because people, and it's dangerous to use, because people, like I said,
it's dangerous to use what?
People emotion change every day. This, for instance, my mom took me on a wonderful vacation when I was 11. That was the only vacation we ever went to. So yeah, I might one day post, I remember my mom took me to Orlando Studios.
It wasn't about the vacation, because that's not the that's not the only time that they were around each other. But to try to allude to the fact that he was never there is BS.
No, but I think what I'm alluding to the point is, just because somebody's dead don't mean they're dead. Meaning, this not
I
just
told
because
you
you're
already. They
no,
never
no, no,
said he
but
was never there. They never said that. You can't abandon
no, no,
somebody if you were never there.
no, no. But what I'm saying is, you could be there without being there. Meaning, there's some parents who are there physically.
Brianna can
They'll do
say that.
what
We
they
we can agree. Brianna,
right, right,
we
right.
because that's what she said. That was her own personal narrative. And after I read that, I felt what she was saying. I'm not going to dispute that because
No,
you know what I'm saying. But with Brian, his son, you know what I'm saying, that's a different freaking story. That's a different freaking story. And then again, he never said that. He said he felt abandoned at 30 years old. He felt
no, no.
abandoned at 30
But
years
then he
old.
said,
That's some
but then he
bullshit.
said something about fathers and entertainment. If I'm not mistaken, in that
He
quote,
said,
a discussion we need to be had or
yeah, he
something.
said, oh wait, oh no, oh yeah, that was a different quote. I don't think where is it? Where is it? Excuse me. He says, oh my gosh, this thing is so annoying. Yeah, he says, but there is a much bigger issue here when it comes to black fathers, especially in entertainment, that needs to be addressed. That's what he said.
Right, and all I'm alluding to is, like I said, I don't think that Brian was a bad person. Right, my mom wasn't a bad mother, but I think certain parents, because they just because you're there don't mean you're doing a great job, right? Like my mom, I'm not
I
saying my mom
understand.
was a
You're right.
you
You're
see
a
what I'm
hundred.
saying, right?
You are 110% right. But it's levels to this shit, though.
Right, right,
That's
right,
what
right.
I'm saying. But the way that people are trying to, paint freaking Brian McKnight, he's very undeserving of that shit. And I will refuse to allow somebody to do that shit in front of me because I know what it's like for a motherfucker to be there and they ain't really there. I know what that shit is like, and that is not what I see here. As far as Brian McKnight Jr. is concerned, especially your dad is famous. He has helped you out financially. He's giving you exposure. He's giving you experience. He gave you the very freaking voice that you sing with. Because when that nigga sings, he sings just like his pops.
I
That
did hear
that
that.
dude, that dude gave you everything. This is what I'm saying. It's levels to the shit. I know what it's like for a motherfucker to be there, and they might as well not even have been there at all. For
Right.
several different reasons. One, because it wasn't positive. Two, it wasn't what I needed. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't really what I wanted either. And I just took what they felt that I was deserving of and not what I actually felt I needed as a son. I know what that shit is like. That's not that. That's not that. I don't know what it's like for a motherfucker to say, I'm pay for your whole, shit for a year, and then you capitalize on that year. So that way, once the year is over, you can do. I don't know what that shit is like. I know what it's like where I needed help for just something, minuscule and to be vilified for that shit. It's not like he said, yo, man, I was in the hospital. I asked my dad, saying to help me out, to foot the hospital bill. And the nigga told me no. He didn't say that. He didn't say that shit. I know what that shit is like. Or when you really like in your darkest hour, like, yo, I need some help. And you didn't get that shit. You don't get that shit. So I know what that shit is like. And then even if you do get the help, motherfuckers make you feel bad for that shit. So it's levels to this shit. And I would know. I would know. Out of anybody, a nigga like me would know because he's a junior, I'm a junior. Some shit, like I said, when you named after your pops, and then on top of that, you got problems with the nigga that you named after, I fucking know that shit. I would know. You see what I'm saying? So it's like if you know, you know. And I know for sure. That's why I can speak on it. I can see it for what it is. In addition to what like the stereotype that he fits perfectly for the children of freaking famous celebrities, rich and famous celebrities. He fits that same stereotype.
But
It's me and him, we're like I said, we're both juniors and shit like that, but me and him, we're not alike. We are nothing alike. We just I could say, yeah, I've had, issues like father issues and stuff. You know what I'm saying? But as far as like me as a person and I view life and different things like that, me and him are not the same at all. And that's fine. Everybody's different. You know what I'm saying? And again, like, I can't tell him you should be cool with your pops, but I'm saying if you're not gonna be cool with him, then don't be cool with him and don't even entertain that shit no more. Don't even entertain it no more. Because and I said it earlier, I said you should want people to talk about you without your pops. Without your pops. Sammy, he changed his name to Lee Bush for a couple of years. Come up with something else. Come up with another name and really separate yourself. Do something. Do something. But Brian McKnight is not a bad person. He's not a bad person. And you know what I'm saying? But anyway, for those that made it to the end of this shit, what are your thoughts? Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see y'all on the next one. Peace. Yeah, 'cause I know this shit is like